Good morning, dear devotees and friends. Today we will be discussing about the Lord Sri Krishna, is the eternal lover of pure souls. So we are reading the Bhagavata, we are discoursing on the Bhagavata, but now today particularly we will dedicate it for Sri Krishna. Why? Because the August 12th Wednesday is Sri Krishna Janmashtami. That is in coming Wednesday. Today is Sunday. So I thought that we should remember this great personality. So let us begin with the pranam mantra of Sri Krishna. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Harae Paramatmane Pnata Klesha Nashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishnaya, the name is the Krishna. Then Vasudevaya, this is the son of Vasudeva. So Vasudeva. Harae Paramatmane, he is the Hari, and Hari means the God. So Harae, and he takes away. Haran means almost snatching, taking it away, all the bad things from the minds of the people, and he is the Paramatman, he is the Supreme Self. Pranata Kleshanashaya. The Pranata means I bow down to whom? Kleshanashaya, one who removes from the miseries, Klesha. So what are the miseries? Desires. And desires, from that when we are free, then we are completely happy. Because no desire and no complaint. So how he is removing the misery? By removing our desires. And he is the Govinda. Who is the Govinda means? One who can understand the psychology of the people, who can see the mind of the people. So he is the Govinda. So Govinda Nama. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranata Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. This is the Sri Krishna. And the Krishna, he was born in Mathura long before Lord Buddha. And Krishna is a historical personality. Only through the excavations and that can be proved, not like that. Of course, in many places it has been found that Krishna's existence was there. Nobody doubts that he is the historical personality. And Swami Gambhirananda ji, in his Bhagavad Gita introduction, he has given the point after point how it can be proved that Krishna is a historical personality. The Krishna has been mentioned in the Rig Veda. Krishna has been mentioned in the Chandogya Upanishad, and in the Buddhism and also Jainism. So we can understand he was much earlier, the Krishna was much earlier than all these. And not only that, the scholars who came along with the first invention from the west to the east, that was the Greek king. So when Alexander, when he reached over there, some people, they visited and they found the clans and the name of Krishna they have recorded. So all this proves that Krishna is a historical personality. But at the same time, he is God, the Supreme God. So these two, how to combine? Sometimes we think God cannot take birth. Of course, it is true, philosophically true. God cannot take birth. We will come to that discussion. But at the same time, we find the wonderful characteristics. When the human mind is thinking that these should be the divine or godly qualities, if we find those qualities in a human being, can't we say that he is God? That is the argument Swami Vivekananda has forwarded. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is very recent. 1836 he was born. His birthplace is there. All associations are there. So no one can deny. But at the same time, he is God. Why? Those godly qualities are very much present. We consider, Hindus, they consider Jesus as God. Why? The divine qualities are present in Jesus. We should not judge the Jesus, how the people are propagating. No, we should not. But we have to find out the wonderful qualities that comes out when the people are talking about Jesus, writing about Jesus, expressing about Jesus, and from there you can find some divine qualities. And when I love someone, I go on exaggerating. That is the problem. We can't say exactly, because I mix all my emotions, all my imaginations, and that way we go. No, it should not. Here we find that Krishna was born. Let us come back to that particular scene. Long before the Lord Buddha enjoins, the Krishna was born. Where? In Mathura. Still that particular place is there. The Krishna was born in a prison. And many of you know that. And when that Supreme Lord was born, all the gods and goddesses, they came and they were chanting. You know that when someone is there, if you go and tell in Sanskrit, they always say the stotra and express through those words, the chosen words, that we know that you are this. The first word the gods they used, Satyabratam. Now, we find in the Bhagavata, 10 Skanda, 2nd chapter, 26 verse, it says, Satyabratam, Satyaparam, Tri Satyam, Satyasya Yonim, Satyasya, Satya Amrita, Satya Netram, Satyatmakam, Tvam Sharanam Prapanya. First word is Satyabratam. What is this Satyabrata? One who never breaks his promises. As the story goes like this, that the earth was suffering. This world was suffering because some bad people, they came and they were torturing. They were not listening, following the guidance of the God or the divine incarnations. And obviously, all over the society, it was a terrible picture. Then the whole earth taking the form of a cow as if. So that is the speciality of the Indians. They respect the cow because there are many good things we get from the cow. And as if the earth took the form of a cow, and she went to the Brahma. The Brahma told, I cannot solve this problem, let us go to Shiva. They went to Shiva. Shiva told, let us go to Vishnu. They went to Lord Vishnu. And when they were narrating how the people in this earth are suffering, then the Lord Vishnu promised, I myself will advent in a human form and I will solve this problem. So he promised. So what is dharma? I always say, and I believe, dharma means keeping the promises. Keeping the promise. Dharma is satya bratam. Brata means the promise. Satya bratam. Satya means truthful to the promises. In this present social circumstances, if you see, each and every one take the oath. When someone is becoming the president or the prime minister or the administrator or in the military or judge, doctor, engineer, anyone in any profession, when they take charge, the responsibility, they take the oath. Even when you become the citizen of a country, you take the oath. So those oaths one should keep. That is called dharma. At the time of marriage, the Hindus, they take oaths. The Christians, they take oaths. We have seen, it is all written over there. This is called following and practicing and keeping those promises are called dharma. We are thoroughly confused about dharma. We think that dharma means we have to make a huge building and then we should go over there and that should be heavily decorated, that should be very costly. It is all your expression of your pride. That is not dharma. And no matter if you can, of course, you construct a huge building and say, here I will place my God, then no problem. But what is dharma? Constructing the building? It cannot be. The dharma means only keeping promises. So this, when we get a job, ordinary job in the office, we sign, we are going to perform this thing. That's called promises. Every step of life, we take the promises. Before taking the promise, one should be very careful. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, be free like air. Be free like air, but obedient like the grasses. The two completely opposite things he is telling. Be free like air. About the sannyasi he is telling, but obedient like the grasses. When you are accepting the ideology of the Ramakrishna mission, Ramakrishna order, before that you are free. Nobody is compelling you. When you accept that ideology, you should follow it. And you should be humble and obedient like the grasses. So that is exactly Satya Bratam. Satya Param. Satya Param also, the God can be realized by keeping the promises. What is the dharma? What is God? One who keeps his promises. How to realize God? By keeping your promises. Satya Param. And what is God again? Tri Satyam. This is Tri Satya. Immediately takes our mind to that highest Vedantic knowledge. That God never changes. It is eternal. Akshaya, Amara, Abhaya, different words have been used. But here it says Tri Satyam. Tri Satyam means it was, it is, and it will be always, every time, eternal, no changes. Then it says Tri Satya, and God can be realized by practicing truth, Satya Vakya. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, in this age, in the Kali Yuga, there is a fourth, that period now we are passing, only the practice that one should do is Satya. Satya Vakya, Satya Vyavahara. That means whatever the promises that you have taken, and those promises should not harm others, should not create problem for others. That should not be. That is not the promises. So promises, it should be taken in such a way that not only helps you but also helps the society. So by that one can realize God. Seeing God in everything and everywhere. Satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapanya. The beautiful way the gods are welcoming the human form of the Supreme Being. The Supreme Being, it has no form. It is the consciousness everywhere. That same Supreme Being taking the form of Vishnu. What is Vishnu? We will come to that. The Vishnu, Vinod Goswami, Pandit Radha Vinod Goswami, he is giving a definition of the Lord Vishnu. Bebesti prakritam aprakritam sarvam vyapnoti iti Vishnu. Bebesti prakrita aprakritam sarvam vyapnoti iti Vishnu. As the manifested, unmanifested, prakritam, aprakritam, everything. Not a single thing is out of it. Vyapnoti, sarvam, everything, vyapnoti, saturated. That is Vishnu. So how what that can be except consciousness? So consciousness is Vishnu, all pervading. But it has taken a form. Why? For us. So that we can imagine this. When the mother Devaki, she gave the birth of her 8th child, and she clearly saw Lord Vishnu with 4 hands lying over there. It is, she gave the birth of a child, but it was the Lord Vishnu that she manifested. And the story goes, we all know, Lord Vishnu advented Krishna to keep his promise, as we have just discussed. And he punished the demonic people like Kamsa. He was Kamsa, Jarasandha, they were all at that time, they were creating problem for the human life. So he came. In the Vidura Uddhava Samvad, in a conversation between Vidura and Uddhava, this question was discussed. Why Lord advent on this earth? Because we are born because of our desires. Sometimes some people ask question after the death, am I going to take birth? Is it that me I am going to take birth? Yes. How? Because the subtle mind, subtle body, Shukshma Sharira, which is composed of mind also, and the mind takes the impressions, and with those impressions the same soul will take another body. So that is, we go on. Why? All these beings that they are taking birth because of the desire, because of the karma phala. So whatever the work that they have done, to either to suffer or to enjoy the result of their karma. But why Lord? So this is the wonderful question. The Lord actually manifests, and how? Again in the Bhagavatam it says the God has 2 aspects. One is para, another is abara. P-A-R-A, para, and abara. Para abara esha mahad amsha yukto hi ajopi jato bhagavan jathagni. Aja api jata bhagavan. Aja means not born, never born. The born means the moment you are taking the form, that is the beginning, and anything which is having the beginning must be having the end. The God cannot die. So obviously, how he is taking form? Para abara. These are the 2 qualities that the God is having. Mahadamsha yukta. Then he is using that. A pure consciousness is the para aspect of the God, and manifestation, everything right from the Hiranyagarbha down to the grasses, everything is nothing but abara aspect of God. So God is consciousness, and God is not born, God is not created. So obviously that part is called para. But at the same time, the another aspect of God is this abara. Ajo opi jato. How it is possible? One which is unborn and taking the birth, then it says, through though unborn, as if born, aja opi jata api. So we are going to celebrate the birthday of the Lord Krishna, but Krishna is God, the Supreme. How God can take birth? So this is like as if. So Goswami Tulsidas ji, he was a devotee, he was a great devotee of Sri Ramachandra. And he mentioned that my Ramachandra, my God, Maya Manushyam Harim. So wonderful way all these things are Maya Manushyam Harim. This Manushya, the human form that we see of the Hari, the Lord, is a Maya. Maya means illusion. So we see that God in that form, it is an illusion. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna was suffering. He developed the throat cancer, and in those days there was no medicine, no treatment, and it's terrible pain. And he used to say, just like a child, to anyone who will be there, how can I recover from it? I am suffering. Then one day, one of his disciples, a young boy, he told, sir, shall I tell you one thing? What is that? They said, you are only acting, but you are not actually suffering. You are God, you cannot suffer. You are only acting. That if someone has taken the human form, he has to suffer. Even in that suffering, if you can remember God, that is the goal. Sri Ramakrishna smiled and said, oh, you have discovered me. So, and in his own language, Sri Ramakrishna said, if you don't mind, Shala dhore feleche. So he has realized. So this is the way Maya Manushyam Harim. So what is this Maya Manushyam Harim? Shankaracharya is also telling Dehovan Eva in the Bhagavad Gita, when he is explaining how the God is born. It is absolutely impossible. God cannot be. That's why in the other religions, particularly in Christianity, it says the God is separate, and then the God, as if sending his beloved Son to guide the human being, and the God is keeping connection with the Son with a divine ghost. So they always say Trinity, the Supreme God who cannot take form, it is not possible. Then this in between, the Spirit coming down and keeping touch with the Son of God, the part of God, that is the Jesus. So that way they are explaining in their own fashion. But Hindus, they say, God, of course, the God itself comes. God himself comes, or herself come, we can say. We are using the God, the word God, so himself like that. But the God means it's not he or she. It is it. Why? It is consciousness. And it is all powerful. Everything is working just by thinking. So that way, he thought that I will manifest, and he manifested. He was not born, manifested. And in that manifested form was known as the Krishna. The Lord Krishna was born as a son of Vasudeva, a king from the clan of a famous Yadu Vamsha. So I will just give you a little brief of this. Majority of you, most of you know, but still there will be some people, they are not connected with this tradition, so they may understand it. The Yadu from Yadava. Who is this Yadu? Shukracharya. There are two teachers. One teacher is the teacher of the gods, and he is Brihaspati. Another teacher, he was the teacher of another group called Ashura. They were very good in different activities, but they were having some egos, of course, so they are self-confident. So these are Ashuras. Shukracharya, Acharya means teacher. Shukracharya was the guru of the Ashuras. His daughter was Devayani. Devayani was married to Yajati. Of course, in the beginning, Shukracharya didn't like it, but they ultimately married. Devayani was having a very close friend, and when that close friend, that is Sharmistha, and Devayani, after the marriage, when she was going with her husband, she prayed to her father, can I take my friend also with me? You know, the girls, they are like that, and the fathers had to, what to do, because the tremendous that love, emotion, attachment with the daughters. The Shukracharya told, okay. So Sharmishta also went, but Sharmishta was very beautiful. So Shukracharya understood, and he asked the Yajati, promise that you will never look that Sharmishta, her friend, as your wife. You should not. He promised, Yajati promised. So that is the story of the Yajati. The beautiful stories, one after another, connected with so many things. Now this Devayani and Yajati, they were the clan, and the clan began from the Nahusha. The Nahusha from then Jayati, from Yajati Kartabirjarjun, then Shini, then Prishni, then Hardika, and Hardika's son was Shurasena, Shurasen's son Vasudeva, Vasudev's son Krishna. So Vasudeva and the Krishna, it comes like this. So it began, the clan began with the famous Nahusha. Many of you know that story of the Nahusha. And then the Shurasen married the Marisha, and their son was Vasudeva, and their son was Krishna. In the same clan, the Ugrasen, he was from the Kamsha, Ugrasen, and his Ugrasen's brother was Devak. Devak's daughter, Devaki. Now we come to this. The Kamsha and the Devaki, they were brother and sister, the cousin brother and sister. Kamsha's father was Ugrasen, and Devaki's father was his brother, Ugrasen's brother, Devak. Now Vasudev and Devaki was married. Not that there only Devaki was married. The other daughters of the Devaka, all of them at a time they were married to Vasudeva. That was the tradition of the kings. Now if a king goes and marry in a family one daughter, and if that family is having other daughters, so naturally other people will come and marry those daughters. This king will be equalized with the other kings, other people. Maybe another daughter may marry someone who is not the equal to this king. So how he will accept that? So naturally the system was all the daughters, all the young ladies will be married to one king. So that was the tradition. Even nowadays also, sometimes those who are still the small kingdoms are there, So when they are marrying, they marry all the sisters, all the daughters. So that is the tradition. And they were Dhrito Deva. You'll be interested to know who are the sisters of Devaki. Dhrito Deva, Shanti Deva, Upo Deva, Sri Deva, Deva Rakshita, and Sahodeva. And Devaki was the youngest. And the Devaki, all these daughters were married, all the sisters were married together. But when the Devaki was coming, now here the story begins. Kamsa was very fond of Devaki because the young sister. So Kamsa, he used to look after her, and he was very much attached to the Devaki, used to like her very much as a sister. In the meantime, when the Kamsa grew, and that is also, it is better that we should also know, in the Harivamsha, it is mentioned like this, to perform the bad part, the God is also sending some of his people, and Kamsa was one of them. That is also, at the time of Rama, Ravana was born. And the Ravana was a great devotee of the Vishnu, great devotee of the God. But he wanted to go back and getting the liberation. And it is said that if you are becoming the enemy of God, you get easy liberation, quick liberation, though painful. And that is the way Kamsa also. So we say the bad part, they were playing. Anyway, there was the Ugrasen, he married Padmavati. Padmavati was the daughter of Satyaketu. He was the king of the Vidarbha. The Vidarbha's king Satyaketu, his daughter Padmavati, and they belonged to the Bhoj dynasty, a famous king of Mathura. He was Ugrasen. So Satyaketu's daughter Padmavati and Mathura's king Ugrasen was married. They were very happy, and one day they went to, on way to the parental house of the Padmavati, they stopped in a beautiful garden, and where Ugrasen went for something maybe, and the Padmavati was alone. Suddenly Ugrasen came back, and as a husband he wanted to meet the wife Padmavati. Padmavati was surprised, but anyway, after the conjugal meeting, Padmavati was confirmed that this is not Ugrasen. Then she asked, Kasyatam, who are you? Then to her utter surprise, she found that it was the Govil, or sometimes it is known as Dromil. We won't be able to remember these names, but this is the story. This Dromil, he was an attendant of the richest god Kubera, and he had the power to take different forms. He took the form of the Ugrasen, came and met this Padmavati. That son was Kamsa. So he was not the legitimate son of the Ugrasen, but still they didn't kill the child, so he was born. This Kamsa was very egoistic right from his childhood. He was cruel and also very selfish. He married Jarasandha's two daughters, Asti and Pravti. Jarasandha was another person who was very, very cruel. Now, the story goes in this way. The Kamsa's cousin sisters, they were married, Devaka's daughters, and Kamsa offered, now I will drive the chariot that Devaki is going. 7 chariots are going. The Kamsa told, I will drive. And Kamsa that time was the king. And he became king by arresting his own father Ugrasen. And he was so ruthless, people were afraid of him. So naturally Vasudeva, though he was a very courageous person, but still he didn't object to that. Vasudeva also came in the same chariot. So Devaki and Vasudeva sat and Kamsa was driving. And he was very happy. All around music was going on. But at the same time, so this is how the things, the one of our brahmachari asked, when we were reading this, when he asked, a Daiva Vani, as a divine voice announced, O fool, the 8th child of your sister Devaki will kill you. Then the brahmachari told, why they announced it? So that is the way the God's things goes. No hiding. First give the caution. Be careful. You will be punished. So after that only. So this is the story. At the beginning of the story, the moment Kamsa heard that Daiva Vani, the divine voice, announcing that, he was very selfish. Immediately he wanted to kill the Devaki. Then Vasudeva told, she is a lady. She cannot fight with you. And according to the Kshatriya system, you cannot fight with someone who cannot defend. So please don't do that. People will criticize you, and moreover, you love her. Anyway, she is my wife. I will be with her all through in a prison. You arrestors will be in the prison, and all the 8 children that will born will give it to you. You kill them. Kamsa was very happy. Okay. In the beginning, he was thinking that he will not kill up to the 7 children. 8th child only. So he said to them, no, I am not going to kill all the children, only the 8th born you have to give to me. Narada came into the scenario. And Narada, why you know? Because the Lord has taken the form as a Krishna. He has to come, he has to kill the Kamsa, he has to settle all this, and he should go back. The Narada was concerned about that. If the Kamsa is generous to his sister, so obviously he earned merits. The punishment will be less. To confuse, the Narada came and told, well, I heard this. And Kamsa told, yes, I am not going to kill all the children, but I want to keep them here so that I can count how many children, and the 8th one only I will kill. The Narada told, from which side you are counting? From 1 to 8 or 8 to 1? You do not know. 8th born may be the first one. How you will know? The different type of counting is there. And the confused Kamsa told, then kill all the children. So one after another they were going on killing. We know these stories. And they were delivering, after every year the Devaki gave the birth of a child, and it was given all the boy baby, and they were killed. The 7th one, that was taken to the Rohini, the another wife of this Vasudeva. So that was placed with the Rohini, and she gave the birth Balaram. It is said Vishnu took the form Ram and Lakshmana, and Vishnu took the form as Krishna and Balaram. They are so close, they cannot live without each other's company. So the 7th one was taken to the Rohini. Rohini gave the birth, and in next year the first Devaki gave the birth of the 8th child. Then what happened? When the child was born, Devaki was crying profusely. That's a beautiful way they are describing. Devaki, being a mother, she saw it is nothing but the Vishnu, but at the same time she was going on crying, "Oh Lord, you should not have come. You do not know Kamsa. He is so cruel. He will kill you." Vishnu, but the mother's heart, she was going on. Then the Lord took the Krishna's form and told Mother, you need not to worry about. Then he told his father, Vasudeva, take me out, all the doors will be open, and no one will ask where you are going. Take me out, cross the river Jamuna, all arrangements are made, and you will reach to Nanda's house. He was the leader of the cowherds. He was very powerful. So you go to the Nanda's house. Nanda's wife Jashoda, she has also given a birth just at the same time when I was born, and replace me over there and take the daughter of Jashoda to here. So that was performed. And next day when the child cried, and these are the divine things are happening. Whether we like to believe it or not, all the guards, they were sleeping, and the heavily locked doors were all open, and the river that was also gave the passage for Vasudeva to carry the little baby Krishna, like this all story. And then changed the daughter, brought back. Next morning when the daughter started crying, Kamsa came running. This is the time I should kill. And when she tried to kill that little girl by holding her little legs, he wanted to trash on a stone. She slipped and then floated on the air and said, hey, you cannot kill me, I am the Yoga Maya. But the one who will kill you is now growing somewhere else. You cannot kill him. Then the Yoga Maya disappeared. Here we find the two pictures. Kamsa released the Vasudeva and the Devaki. Told, now the 8th child of yours is born, so now you can go. He released. But at the same time, as because he was not knowing which child is going to kill, on that same day, a little plus minus age group, all children were killed. The massacre that took place at that time. Now friends, Krishna. The Krishna's life, if we see, we can divide it in 3 parts. The first is the Vrindavan Mathura part. He was born, then he grew up with these very simple people, particularly in the Vrindavan. He was born in Mathura and he was taken to the other city, Vrindavan, and he played over there with those cowherd boys, and he grew like that. But one after another miracles he went on showing. This is the first time. When the Sri Ramachandra came, he didn't do the miracles. He didn't show the miracles. When the Ramchandra, he had to cross the ocean, he could make the ocean just like this to the miracle. No, he didn't do that. Rather, he was showing just an ordinary person. Ramachandra's purpose was different. Ramachandra's purpose to make the human society the human way. How the husband should behave with the wife, with the women in the society, with the father, mother, brother, and how they should perform their own responsibilities. All that was taught by Sri Ramachandra. So he is the Paramapurusha. And this Ramachandra behaved in that way. Krishna came to establish the dharma, but how? That God is there. Unless and until you show them through miraculous work, the ordinary people, undeveloped mind, they do not understand about God. Jesus had to show so many miracles to prove that God is there, divine power is there. Krishna also had to show the same way. So the Vrindavan Mathura part, he did the Govardhan Leela, lifted that hill, because the Indra he wanted all the puja, then all the stories you know. Then Krishna told why. This is the first time the thought of God that is living in somewhere in the atmosphere, somewhere in the sky, it came down to the human. This is the great contribution of the Lord Krishna. Human can also become God. God can take the human form. That conception was given by the Krishna. So when they were worshipping that hill, why? Because hill is giving the water, he is the pastur, all these animals can go over there protecting, so like this and that. And the Indra will not be happy if we are not worshipping the Indra, so they will kill. Then he said, why Indra? Worship this Govardhan hill. So he changed the god from the sky, he brought it down to the hill. And his father, foster father, Nandaraj, he used to love him, he agreed. But when they started, the Indra came and he was very angry. He wanted to kill all of them. But then this Krishna lifted that a huge hill, Govardhan, and asked all people to come under it. And he lifted on a finger to show the tremendous power of God. And Krishna, the Indra could not do any harm to them. So from the heaven, the God came to the nature and then to the human form. So he killed the Kaliya, the great snake, and also killing the demons sent by the Kamshas. So many stories are there. So that is the part of the Vrindavan. Then the time came when he had to go and kill the Kamsha himself. So he went to Mathura with his brother, and Kamsha, they planned to kill these two young boys when they were coming. He invited them under the pretext that there will be a competition of the wrestling. So if you are naturally the Kshatriyas, so they were coming. In that, on the way, they sent out a huge elephant, and the elephant was drugged before. Elephant wanted to kill them, but Krishna showed his divine power. Elephant was killed. Then the rest over there, the Charno, there was a very famous wrestler. Krishna killed him. There were 5 of them. They were killed, and afterwards all others they left. Then the Kamsha challenged him, and he was killed by the Krishna and Balarama. So this is the way whole story. And after killing the Kamsha, he replaced again Ugrasena, Kamsha's father, was a righteous man, on the throne. The Krishna wanted to make the society well ruled by the good natured people. The king should be devoted, king should have some religious, spiritual practices, power, and faith on God, and at the same time looking after the subjects properly. That was Krishna. Then we come to the Mahabharata. This part is the most famous. In the Mahabharata, we find that Krishna is a great organizer. In the whole India, that time India was undivided India. Right from Afghanistan up to the Java, Bali, Burni, all those places were India. The huge India. And from each and every part of India, the kings, the Kshatriyas, they came. And the offer was either you join the Pandava or the Kuru camp. The Kuru camps, they were not righteous people, though there were the people like Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, but they were not righteous because of different reasons. In this short talk we cannot discuss, but Krishna was supporting the Pandava, and you can join. That was the beauty of the Indian, the culture. When they were going to declare the war, Just before that, they were facing each other. Just before that, announcement was made why we are going to fight. This part of the group, the Pancha Pandavas group, they are this, and their claim was this. So, as because the other group didn't comply to those demands, so we are forced to fight. And the other group, they are having these qualities, etc. That was announced. Out of the 100 brothers, the 100th one, the last, the youngest brother of the Duryodhana, he crossed and went and joined with the Pandavas. That was the system. In the Mahabharata we find that. And who organized it? It was not a small thing. Thousands of the Kshatriyas, they have come and they assembled over there. It was Krishna. But the Krishna, he promised that I am not going to fight. Why? He is God. If he is going to kill, then he can kill anyone, any number. So he said, no, I am not going to fight. It is your karma phala. Either you are supporting the good or you are supporting the bad. It is your karma phala. I am Shakshi. I am from the eternally witness. I am not going to take part. Look at this. So in the Bhagavad Gita we find this. Another thing here I like to mention, now because of the COVID-19, the people are losing hopes. And in the minds of the youngsters, particularly students, they are thinking what will happen, where you will get the job. And those who are alone, the depression is coming into the mind. The what is going to happen? The future is blink, future is dark. I should request you, friends, read these small, the slokas of the Lord Krishna. When Arjuna, the person like Arjuna, depression is natural. So sometimes we feel depressed because we think, oh, no friends are there around, what I am going to do, etc. Depression may come. That is nothing but another one of the part of the mind. But the medicine is encouragement. That is, Krishna said, when Arjuna, he was depressed and he was denying that I am not going to fight with these people, the Krishna said, Klaibyam masmagamo partha naitattai upapadyate shudram hridaya daurballam taktva uttishta param tapa. The psychological application, param tapa, he said, you, the scorcher of your enemies, param tapa, you are not an ordinary person. You have tremendous power, tremendous knowledge. And naturally, you should rise up. How? You must help your mind with your mind. With your own mind you should help you. Otherwise no one can help you. So friends, at this moment, this is the greatest teaching we learn from the Sri Krishna. So this Sri Krishna, he again and again is going on, nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. I am finishing quickly. Now in the Bhagavad Gita again, it is in the part of the Mahabharata, he gives us and tells us the jnanena, nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. What is the purest thing? Jnana. What is that knowledge? I and God are one. That is the knowledge. The moment I think that I am separate from God, I become weak. But when I think that I am the part of God, I become powerful. Suppose a river which has gone out of the main course of the ocean, but always connected with the ocean, always. If the river thinks, oh, I am so narrow and not much of water, and maybe that I will dry it up sometime. No. If the river, I am just giving an example, river is constantly thinking, my source is the ocean. the river will never dry, because the constant supply of the ocean water will make it so powerful and forceful. The same way, the human mind also constantly think, where from I have come? From God. So I am always connected with God. Maybe that for some reason, for some time, I have deviated from that, started thinking that I am separate, started thinking that this body and mind is me. That is mistake. That is ignorance. So Sri Krishna, he is giving us that nahi jnanena sadrisham pravitram iha vidyate. This vidyate, there is nothing so pure as the jnana of unity with God. How to reach over there? Then he gave the other three, the traditional ways, through karma, through unselfish work. We are serving the people thinking that they are also living gods and not expecting anything in return, not even a clapping, not even anything from that. Just I am giving. Like that, if we can do through that karma. And also devotion. We have the emotion, we have the love. So one young lady, she is my disciple. She came from all the way from Michigan to make something, prepare some food for me. Why? Love, respect. Then I will cook something for my guru. And that is love, that is called devotion, that is called bhakti, that is already with us. And when we are applying that to God, I realize the truth that I and God are one. And also the yoga, withdrawing the mind, withdrawing all the senses from all the outwardly things. God has created this, but those are all temporary things. Sometimes the mother gives the doll to the child, and child is very happy playing with the doll. As long as the child is playing with the doll, mother will not give the attention to the child. The mother will go for some other work. But the moment the child starts crying and thinks that this doll is not interesting, I am not interested at all, the mother herself will come. So these worldly things, this name, fame, and all other things that we get from this world are all temporary. But who has given it? God. Why? To make us, just like the child, the mother gave the doll so that the child will be playing with the doll for some time. The God has given us this. But no, we will go on crying to the God, we want you. And the third part of the Krishna's life, the last message of Krishna that we find in the Bhagavatam. So the first part that we find, that is the birth and the growing up of the great eternal lover. Why I say lover? You will always find that Krishna is having a flute, and the flute he is playing. The moment he is playing, the devoted people, they are all running after that. It's not the bad people. The Krishna is God. The touch of God can transform you, give you tremendous love, the unthinkable joy. But didn't Krishna touch the Kamsa? Kamsa was dead. Krishna touched the Charnu? Charnu was dead. Krishna touched so many bad people who came to Krishna to kill Krishna, the baby Krishna, child Krishna, young Krishna. They tried to kill him, and they, in return, they were killed. Why? God doesn't give anything. In whatever the mind we are carrying, whatever the thought we are having, with that when you got approach to God, thousandfold that comes back to us. That's all. So that is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, Nadatte krishachit papam, nachaiva sukritam vibhu. I do not punish anyone, and I am not rewarding anyone. It is your own karma. What is that karma? My thought. And how the thought is coming? Because my association with all these things, the only 5 things are there. Rupa, Rasa, Shabda, Sparsha, Gandha. So with that we are collecting and then making, the thought should be pure. And with the pure thought, with the love and affection, when we approach God like the mother Jashoda approached, and the touch of that baby Krishna made us so happy. So we should be careful. That is the last message of Krishna in the Bhagavata last part, and the Uddhava is asking the question and Sri Krishna is giving that is the knowledge. The wonderful way the Lord Krishna gave us the advice, and that advice is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhya Mokshayishami Ma Shucha. You need not to worry about. Just believe me and depend on me. Give all your karma to me. I will take you. I will hold you. I will take care of you. And one day you will merge into that which is the source of the creation. So we remember the Lord Krishna, the most popular God and avatara of the Hindus, and we seek his blessings. And particularly in these trying times and the challenging times, we again and again pray to that Supreme God, the lover of the pure souls. Let us be pure. The purity means love for God. Purity means guileless. Purity means free from ego. And attraction of God will come. The sound of the divine flute of Krishna we will hear. And there will be no fear. There will be no misery. There will be only joy. There will be happiness. And there will be peace. Oh Lord, please bless us. Thank you very much, friends.
Two questions. One is from Srimad Vishwas. She is asking, being a devil, why was Kamsa born in the same family?
That is exactly, I told that in my talk. I told this is the part only they are going to play. So the Kamsa was born in the Jadukhula. They are also Bhoj, we can say the Bhoja. But wherever it may be, it is the same thing. Someone is behaving like that, and that is to teach us. The Kamsa was born in a good family, and his father was Ugrasen, mother was Padmavati. They were so good people. Even the child could not learn anything good from them. Rather, from his demonic nature, he arrested his father and tortured him, isn't it? So even if we are born in a good family, our nature that comes from the past life makes us like devil. So though Kamsa was born over there, he could not take the benefit of taking birth in a good family.
The next question is from Shupama Ghosh. Shupama is asking, Pranam Maharajji, is it possible to realize God only by keeping promises? Question mark. If I keep promises throughout this life, when will I realize Him? At the end of life or during lifetime?
Keeping promises means you are always alert about the truth. The truth that I have given this promise and I must keep. In the different the Puranas, actually the history and the imagination clubbed together gives the beautiful story so that we can learn. There was a king Shibi, and he promised that whoever will take shelter, come to me, I will protect as a king. And you know that to judge this promise, the Indra and the Dharma, they took the form, one as a pigeon, another as a falcon, and they chased each other. I mean, the falcon chased the pigeon. The pigeon came to the Shibi and told, please protect me. And then within second, the falcon came and told king, it is my food and I am hungry, you have to give me food. Here begins the story. The she-bee told, see, I have promised that I will protect anyone who will come to my refuge. And you want meat, isn't? I will give you the meat from my own body. Meat I will give you. Then he said, the falcon said, no, from your own body then you have to give. Either the pigeon or the meat from your own body. The story goes, they kept the pigeon on that balance, and it was becoming so heavy, so heavy, so heavy. The king was going on cutting all from his own body the meat, and he was almost on the verge of death. Then these two gods appeared and told, she-bee, we were really examining whether you keep your promise or not, isn't it? So the realization of God is possible only by keeping the promise. And when, at the time of death or before, that depends how intensely we keep the promises. But if we keep the promises, then the whole world will transform, each and every one of us, wherever we are, in whatever responsibility. If we are keeping the promises, then this whole world will become heaven, isn't it? So thank you, friends. We say 3 times Shanti, and we conclude today's talk. Again, in the next Sunday, we will continue, because this August 30th, the last Sunday, we will conclude the Bhagavata. Then we will go for another subject. Let's say, Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.